What's up? Thanks for joining me on another video here. I am going to be doing another reading of a person's chart who is very well known in the astro community and very respected. Somebody who's very, very talented. Continuing a series on charts being read of people who are looked up to and inspire a lot of up-and-coming astrologers. So this video was actually supposed to be done by a friend of mine, but he's too busy salsa dancing, so he asked me to take over, and I said, yeah, hey, why not? You know, this guy's cool. So I'm doing the chart today of the peace dealer, the Prince Hakeem of astrology, because he came from Nigeria. So I'm going to be reading his chart today, and actually I have a special guest. I have a special celebrity guest that's going to be helping me read his chart today. Dude, I got Rihanna to help you read your chart. Say what's up, Rihanna.
Hey, what's up?
I'm just kidding. It's not Rihanna, but it is a gorgeous lookalike who's actually an astrologer herself. Her name is Aubrey Adams. She has her own YouTube channel, and I will link her channel below. She does a lot of awesome things, so I'll be sure to give all her information after this video or below the video. So because I have a guest, I'm going to be, you know, the courteous Taurus that I am, and let my guest go first. So we're just going to go through a couple of things in the chart that show that how and why he's a great astrologer. So Aubrey, what did you want to touch on first?
Well, first, I've always really resonated with the Peace Dealer and his work because I feel like we've had similar paths in astrology. He's a Capricorn moon, I'm a Capricorn sun, and so we both have that same work ethic. And it seems that with his story, that astrology he's had to give up a lot of things for astrology. Like he gave up school and he had to move for astrology and all this crazy stuff. And that's definitely me. I've had to give up a lot of things to pursue astrology. And so I respect that. I understand that. I think we have a lot of things in common. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was his moon in Capricorn. Being a Capricorn woman, I attract a lot of these men, and I think I understand them pretty well. One, it's like really hard to get to know these men because, like a Capricorn, they like to hide their emotions, and they kind of like to wear a mask of like sternness. And even when you do get close to them, they'll like try to like push you away, and they can be very closed off emotionally and closed down. But the thing about these people is that they're like so cunning. Like cunning is the word that comes to mind. They're so intelligent, and sometimes I think that they're not even aware of how intelligent they are, and they self-doubt themselves. Like it's a position, especially hitting Saturn, that gives you a lot of like self doubt. And you also have a lot of blind spots when you're a Capricorn and when your planets touch Saturn. And so sometimes it's hard to really, they want to like control everything. And that's weird because it also touches Neptune, and Neptune is ungraspable. Like you can't put Neptune in a box. Like you can't control Neptune. And so having that dynamic of like Saturn and Neptune like on your moon is probably like really crazy. So moon is like mother and how you were nurtured. So hitting Saturn, you probably weren't given a soft upbringing. It was probably pretty harsh. And there's this theory we just studied in one of my psychology classes, and it's like whatever you don't get in nurturing as a child from your parent, you end up going and getting it from work. And that kind of makes sense with the whole Capricorn dynamic with Capricorns being known for not getting what they need, like nurturing wise, and then growing up and being successful because they never got the attention that they needed. And so having it in your moon makes you even more so fit that description of going and getting what you need psychologically from work and having to put everything into work because you didn't necessarily get it from your parents. And there's probably an issue with the father, and because the moon also touches and the Saturn also touches Neptune, and Neptune talks about addiction. There might have been some type of an addiction with the father, like he might have had a drinking problem or something like that. Another thing that's weird is that you have a Gemini moon, and Gemini is really social and like likes to talk and have a lot of acquaintances. But Capricorn moon is not like that. They only want their three really good friends, and they don't need anybody else. So you have that weird mix of sun and moon, and it's like, yeah, you can charm anybody and talk to anybody about anything, but that doesn't mean that you're actually showing them who you are. And that's kind of like a deadly mix to have that double of intelligence of an air sign and of a really cunning moon sign in Capricorn. I think Capricorn people are some of the most just cunning, again, is the word that just comes to mind, like so intelligent, and they can move so well, and everything that they do is like planned out. And then again, having that ability to quickly move with Gemini moon and that intelligence, that's like insane. Moon touching Neptune is what gives you a lot of your really amazing psychic abilities. And moon is unconscious, and then Neptune rules the unconscious as well. So there's probably a lot of things going on in your psyche that you don't even realize that you have. Like for me, my psychic gifts were very latent, and then one day they just kind of all hit me at once. And I imagine it was probably something similar for him. And just the moon is like the most inner self, and then Neptune is like just dissolves everything and makes you like one with everything. So it might be really hard for you to get to know yourself, because the planet of like illusion, and Neptune is just everywhere and doing whatever it wants to do. And then the moon is supposed to be the most inner self, the part of you that you can really connect to. And so having Neptune touching that, it's really hard for you, I feel like, to maybe be grounded in your emotions. These people usually get swept away really easily. Like they might meet someone and be like, oh, this is like my soulmate, and they don't have boundaries. So you might keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And then plus that 12th house Venus being so compassionate but not getting that love back, it's really hard for you. You've probably never gotten any of the love, or not the same amount of love that you've given out. And you were so soft and so sensitive, especially as a child. And then with that Saturn on your moon, you had a very strict parent and a very harsh parent that probably didn't understand your gifts, and they didn't understand your sensitivity. And so you had to learn a lot. You had a lot of hard lessons with your emotional self, and learning when to be compassionate, when not to be compassionate. Capricorn also rules over the root chakra, and the root chakra is the last chakra that shuts off in a person before they commit suicide. So I do pranic healing, and so the Capricorn rules over the root chakra, and the root chakra is about survival, and it's the first chakra. So before any of the other chakras can basically be turned on, the root chakra has to be strong. It has to be on, basically. And there's no way that you can, it's the chakra that stops you from jumping off a roof. Like they tell you that if you're energy healing someone that is suicidal, you energize the root, because the root is survival. And so it kicks in, it stops them from doing anything to harm themselves, because it's the basic human instinct to survive. And that ruling over your moon and having so much Capricorn energy in your chart, period, is amazing. So whatever trials that you had to go through, you survived, because you have all that root chakra. You have all that instinctual, keep going, I'm going to win. And again, that's why Capricorns succeed, because they have that basic instinct of keep going, I'm going to survive. Also, it being in your 9th house, both the Saturn and your moon is weird, because Saturn is restriction and the 9th house is expansion. And so you have this kind of struggle of I just want to go and I just want to do. And then Saturn's like, no bitch. Like, and so that makes sense with you, like wanting to leave school and I think he's currently in Africa right now or something like that.
Yeah, traveling.
His last video, he was like in Africa or something. And so you're probably very emotionally satisfied right now. And because being in foreign countries and being in places, you know that you were never gonna learn the way that other people learned in school. Like you staying in school didn't serve you with that 9th house moon, because you knew that by traveling and by seeing the world is how you were really going to learn and really going to expand. And you've probably gotten a better understanding of astrology by traveling. And then it also being Saturn in the 9th house means that you could actually be a really good authority figure in things like that roll over the 9th house. So religion and philosophy, which is exactly what astrology is. And so you have the ability to be a really strong authority figure. But the thing with Saturn and Moon conjunct is that it doesn't give you a lot of self-confidence. But you have that in your chart, that you are meant to be an authority figure in it. And the Capricorn Moon men are meant to be in positions of authority. And it's amazing because you have that Capricorn, but then you also have it touching Neptune. And so you also have that spirituality. So that's amazing.
Wow, that was like an amazing interpretation. Kind of blowing me out the water here on my own channel, but you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I think it's dope. But just to go along with what you were just talking about, I noticed that he has Jupiter conjunct Chiron. It's like exact degree conjunction. And they make an aspect to the Moon and Saturn conjunction too. It's like a wide orb, but it's still, you know, it's still an opposition. So they make an aspect. But anyway, Jupiter conjunct Chiron, you know, Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is also philosophy. Jupiter can represent religion too. And then Chiron is healing, you know. So with them in conjunction with each other, it's like you're expanding the ability to heal others through like philosophy, through religion. But since you're not really on the religious side right now, you know, astrology can kind of fit into that in a way. You can spread those things out to the masses and really help people out to heal and to get a lot of knowledge with, sorry. Yeah, but you can really help people out by spreading the messages and philosophizing everything that you've learned with, you know, when it comes to like spirituality and things like that. I know that he did come up religious at first, but then turned to the, you know, astrology and the occult, the tarot, and all of those studies, like occult studies. So that's just another thing that I noticed that I wanted to bring up. Also, when it comes to his approach to astrology and how he delivers, I feel like having Venus in the 12th really, really plays a part in that. Because, well, Venus is making a lot of aspects, actually, to the Moon and Saturn conjunction Capricorn. Also, it does make an aspect to Neptune and to Uranus. So his Venus in the 12th is receiving all of this different energies from all those other planets. The 12th house is about, like, it can be about being very creative, very spiritual, and also it can be about, like, you could just tap into the realm of the 12th house by having a planet in there. And it also can deal with, like, fantasy in a way, like being able to go off into a fantasy world, being able to appreciate things like that. And it can show a lot in the videos that he does, like the Age of Aquarius series and the tribe reports that he does, and also like the World War Zero. It's like storytelling. It's not just technical astrology breaking it down like, okay, well, this month, if you are a Cancer, you're going to have this planet transit in it. It's like, it's not like exact, like robotic, you know what I mean? It's like storytelling. He adds characters, and it really just is a totally different approach that I don't see anybody else do. And it's really dope, you know. So I think that Venus in the 12th house and receiving all those aspects from other planets really does play a part in that. So yeah.
I started following the Peace Dealer about maybe this time last summer, and I could totally relate to like his journey with astrology. And at some point he was telling a story about how he was living with his grandfather and he was in college or something like that, his father, and how he was like, you can't live with me if you want to do this astrology channel because I don't like it, or something like that. And I totally relate to that because my mother is that she doesn't like astrology, and she'll throw away my astrology and put every roadblock she can in my way to doing what I want to do. So I always felt like emotionally connected to him because I was able to relate to his story, the Capricorn energy and the 12th house energy, which when you have Capricorn, and even with the Saturn and the Capricorn moon giving you even double the dose of Capricorn energy in your moon, you were kind of dried up emotionally. Like you didn't get the nurturing that you needed as a child. And like I said, with the Neptune, the planet of Neptune making you so sensitive and so naturally compassionate, you were even more susceptible to those things. And I think his Saturn, the Saturn moon conjunction is tighter than the moon Neptune. And the moon Neptune is where I think he gets a lot of his psychic gifts from. And so in a chart, you have to work through the tightest orbs before you get to the other things in your chart. So I have Mars right on Neptune, and I've had to work through that before I was able to get to the other things in my chart. And so basically you're going to have to work through the moon Saturn conjunction, the not being able to feel, getting over the whatever you weren't given as a child to get more to your moon Neptune, which is going to give you more gifts, more compassion, more artistic abilities, and it's going to make your like astrology better. And yeah.
I mean, just wow, that those authority figures, yeah, Saturn conjunct moon, it can really show, like, because the moon is family, Saturn is restriction and like authority. So it's like, you know, family of taking authority over you and what you want to do spiritually, which is the 9th house. So that totally makes a lot of sense for him. And that's pretty jacked up. It's pretty messed up. So what I also wanted to, wanted to touch on also myself is Mercury conjunct ascendant. So people that have Mercury conjunct ascendant, I mean, just in the, you know, they can be quite the busybody, they can be kind of scattered sometimes. It's like, you know, Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So he's a Gemini sun, and having Mercury, even though it's in Taurus, it's conjunct his ascendant. When you have a planet that's conjunct your ascendant, since your ascendant is like a huge part of who you are, you set your life path. It's who you are when people first meet you in person. If you have a planet that's conjunct your ascendant, you actually like embody the energy of that planet and you give it off. So, you know, having a Gemini moon is somebody who's very talkative, who's very witty, and who's very communicative and everything. But having Mercury conjunct your ascendant even like enhances that. A lot of people that are involved in radio and TV and are really good at things like that, speaking, rapping, which he also does too, they have Mercury conjunct ascendant because it's just Mercury is like them. They represent Mercury to the fullest. Mercury is conjunct. I made up my own aspect here. Mercury is it's trine the moon in the 9th house. The 9th house can also represent like philosophy and things like that, besides religion and things of like a spiritual nature. So the moon in the 9th, you know, their minds already go there, and the moon is like the subconscious, but the moon can also represent like the imagination of a person. If you have Mercury, which rules your communication, in a harmonious aspect like that to the moon, that's another reason why he can speak with like so much creativity and imagination. And the 9th house, you know, does come into play with like philosophy and everything, but also I wanted to get into a couple of, I'm going to get into a couple of asteroids that I noticed. So I love the asteroids, but he has an asteroid that's named Philosophia, which does represent philosophy. He has it in conjunction with Mercury. So that even enhances his philosophizing, if that's a word, ability. Forgive me if I'm making up my own words, sounding stupid, but yeah, that really does bring out the philosopher in him, and he's very, very brilliant because of that.
Yeah,
and
that's cool. So much, so much ninth house energy. It's just crazy because he also has that so much restriction in his chart with all like Capricorn and like the Capricorn. So I always like don't get along with like Sagittarius's because Capricorn is like restriction, and I always end up having like hitting roadblocks, and then Sagittarius is always like end up like tripping into like $1 million, and you're like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And then Capricorn's like gets a random bill, and it's like, what? And so it's crazy because you've had to learn like all these crazy lessons, but then you also are like someone who's like lucky, and so that's awesome. You get like the double power of like luck, but also you had those lessons, so when that luck does come, you know what to do with it. Also, Capricorn moons are they, especially the moon, Capricorn moon men love to control the situation, and they love to control. And if someone moves in a way that they didn't expect them to move, it can kind of like piss you off, maybe subconsciously. But it also touches Neptune, and Neptune's like blah 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 blah, blah, and it wants to do whatever it wants to do, right? And so when moon hits Neptune, you kind of lose control, and you lose being able to really grasp how you feel, because it's just all over the place. And so I'm sure that's hard, like having to be able to learn how to control. I bet you have good control over your psychic abilities. I bet that's something that he has with the Saturn Neptune.
And also, you know what, Mercury in aspect to the moon can also create somebody who is has like psychic abilities too, because since the moon is emotions, Mercury, it doesn't mean he communicates like a crybaby emotional, like a Cancer. Sorry, Cancers, but you know, it doesn't mean he's like an emotional crybaby and like, oh my God, about stuff. But you know, he can really, the moon can help somebody tune into the emotions of other people and really notice like little things about people. Because if you think about Cancers, they notice everything about you. They remember your favorite color, your favorite food, and that's how they get so, that's how they're so catering to people. It's not just psychic ability, you know, I just automatically know this, but they really tune in and pay attention. So if you have Mercury, which is like your lower logical mind as well as communication, in a harmonious aspect to the moon, it really does help him to be able to pick up on those things around him about people, to be able to apply that ability to astrology, because astrology is what? It's, you know, it's a study of how we as humans, it's our behaviors and how we're affected by energy and the cosmos. So I know he doesn't really like to get into astrology based on books so much, but based on what's around him and the way he like explains things is very down to earth, of course, because of his Taurus energy, but it has to do with like how you were affected here on earth. It's not just all about like I said, all the technical stuff going on up there. It's like, this is what's going to happen to you this month. And it's like a very down to earth explanation, which I really like. That's why I like tuning into him, because I have a lot of Taurus energy, and I'm like, I like to communicate things in astrology in that manner too. Like, just let people know, hey, this is what's really going on with you. Not just, you know, well, the sun is doing this, and therefore it's like, this month you're going to have to get off your ass and you're going to have to work harder, you know? But it's just like down to earth approach, which I really noticed about him and I really dig. So
yeah. The Capricorn, like earth energy needs to be grounded. That's how they, did you just say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sometimes like your mouth is still moving, but there's no sound. Like it's not matched up.
Oh, wow. We're in a Kung Fu movie. I'm sorry. No, go ahead and speak. I'm sorry.
So sometimes, like you said, earth energy wants to be grounded. So like having like the moon in Capricorn, you want to have like grounded logical emotions, but then Neptune comes in and just fucks that up and is like, nope. And like that's like me, like with the sun on Neptune, like I'm trying to like be grounded and do things logically, and Neptune's like, nope, you have no idea what you're doing. Like
yeah, I could totally see that. Now, the last thing that I wanted to get into, which is going to be something that leads into what the last thing you wanted to get into, I'm going to look at a couple of asteroids, a couple more asteroids that I look to for keys of what makes somebody a great astrologer. There's a lot of people who are into astrology, they have certain asteroids that will kind of be present in their chart, like in a certain placement that can bring that interest and ability out of them. So number one that I always look at is the one that's named Astro Wizard, which, I mean, the name says it all. So he has Astro Wizard conjunct the sun. I know there's kind of debates of the orb that you're supposed to use with asteroids. It's really up to the astrologer based on your intuition and what you see and what you feel really resonates. So it's at a 6-degree conjunction with the sun, but I feel like that's close enough to make him somebody who is very, very great with astrology. Also, the asteroid Stargazer, which also is self-explanatory of what it means. He has that conjunct his midheaven and also conjunct his north node. He has the asteroid named Wisdom trine exactly the asteroid named Astro Wizard. There's actually a trine, a grand trine with Astro Wizard, Wisdom, and Stargazer. So I think those little asteroids do contribute to him having the ability to be a great astrologer and, you know, just put that knowledge out there. And especially with Stargazer conjunct the midheaven, that really says a lot about his life path. Also conjunct the north node. And I know you want to talk about the north node, so go on ahead.
So north node. So I always I've like the north node is like the placement in the chart that I think brings out my most interest because it's about like destiny, and I think that's just so like, I don't know, like magical, like the north node. So south node, that means your south node was in Leo. And so that's indicative of someone that, you know, you were a big personality in your last life, and you might have been famous in your last life. You might have been the center of attention, whatever. And so naturally in this life, you're good with the public and you're good with creativity and entertaining people, and you seek almost to be of attention. But in this life, that's not necessarily what you're meant to be. You're meant to be of service to humanity, and you with what you do for people. You're one of the first people, I feel like, one of the first like mainstream like astrologers that are able to appeal to the masses. A lot of astrologers like are like too old school with it, and they're not able to make it something that's fun and able for people to connect with. And so you are giving like a service, and you are helping humanity, and it's really awesome. Like you were meant to do this, like with us being in the age of Aquarius and the North Node being in Aquarius. That's like really awesome to have. I think like I have Mercury in Aquarius, and I just feel like it's like a blessing to have that placement during this time. And it's even more of a blessing to have North Node in Aquarius in this time. I think you will do big things in your life, but having the South Node in Leo means that you might not necessarily get recognition for it. It might be more of a humanitarian, selfless service thing, and especially having Aquarius in the midheaven. I call it the midheaven. I didn't know it was called the midheaven, but whatever. It's in Aquarius, and that just proves more that you're meant to service humanity and to give. And also just with all the Neptune energy in the 12th house, your chart says service. It says it give, and you will probably always give more than you receive. And I'm a 12th house person, and I've had to go through acceptance of that too. But once you do, that's when the blessings just kind of like flood in. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's such a dope interpretation of his North Node. And yeah, you know what? I hope he continues to do great things. I'm pretty sure he will. And I'm pretty sure he's going to, you know, like you said, he might not get like the huge, like, name and lights recognition or anything, but you know, he's already got a lot of people that follow him and subscribe to him and that tune into him and can resonate with him because he has this down-to-earth approach, but at the same time he's connected to the outer world and can bring that knowledge down and put it into planet Earth terms for people. So he's going to continue to have people follow him and continue to inspire people like us. So we really appreciate his work. And that's it. That's all I have. Do you have anything else to add, Aubrey?
Anytime Saturn touches anything, it's going to give you lessons. And I believe in loose conjunctions. I believe that astrology is the attempt to interpret energy, but energy is so vast and boundless. So it's really hard for you to be like, this means this and this means this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so.
Thank you very much.
It's so fast. You can't ever say that, like, oh, it needs to be exactly in 4 degrees because that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's no like Capricorn moon and Gemini sun don't square, but they're two such different energies that you might end up having trouble with that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's not the point. The point is Neptune and Saturn, you might have issues with trying to control people with spiritual gifts or a lot of lessons with your spiritual gifts. And you're gifted because of good karma from your last life. That's how spiritual gifts come to be. And so if you do not use them for good in this life, and obviously you're using them to help people, then they decrease. And that might not come till your next lifetime. And again, with the North Node in Aquarius and it being about service and being about humanity, you might not ever get the recognition in this life, but it'll all the universe is always watching and it will always come back to you, good or bad. So yeah, and it might not even happen to your next lifetime, but I promise you, multiple lifetimes exist. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see that. I'm like looking at the chart as you're speaking, and I'm like, word, I get it. But okay, well, that's all we have for this video interpretation of the chart of Michael, aka the Peace Dealer. So thank you for joining me, Aubrey. And like I said, I'm gonna post links to your channel and everything down below. I really want people to check out your channel because I feel like you do have, you know, a really great gift, and I really resonate with your interpretations, and I hope other people do too. But so yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Peace. Good night.